this event, holding events such as this, is one of our objectives. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan is very sensitive of its international image. Therefore, it has imposed a media blackout in Balochistan, so that the world may not know of the crimes it is committing in Balochistan. And we are arranging this seminar to apprise the international community, an audience such as yourself, of the worsening human rights situation in Balochistan. There are issues that the Baloch face, including the enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings of political leaders, intellectuals, and activists. In 2015, the Interior Minister of Pakistan, Chaudhry Nisar Ali Khan, disclosed that since June 2014, more than 10,000 intelligence-based operations had been carried out, mainly in KPK and Balochistan, in which some 36,000 persons were arrested. The Baloch human rights groups have registered verified cases of the missing and disappeared persons, numbering in thousands. The leader of the Balochistan National Party, Sardar Akhtar Mangal, submitted a list of the missing persons in the National Assembly of Pakistan in 2014. Following is the number of the missing persons from 2011 up until 2018. In 2011, the number of victims of enforced disappearances in Balochistan were 82. In 2012, it hiked to 258. And in 2013, 491 people were abducted. In 2014, 229 people fell victim to the practice of enforced disappearances. In 2015, 145 people went missing. 2016, 706 people were made subject to enforced disappearances. And in 2017, about 1,257 people were made subject to enforced disappearances. In 2018, the number were 564, and the practice still continues in Balochistan. The another phenomena is of mass graves that were discovered in different districts of Balochistan. In December 2013, a mass grave was discovered from Tuta Fuzdar district of Balochistan. Some of the remains were identified as persons picked up by the Army's death squad on different occasions. On January 25, 2014, 3 other mass graves were found after one of them was discovered by a shepherd who saw pieces of human bodies and bones. Another mass grave was discovered in February 2017 with several bodies belonging to the Bugti tribes. And to cite however, the thousands of Baloch have fell victim to the extrajudicial killing being practiced by the Pakistani security forces. Some of the well-known and high-profile incidents I want to quote here. In 2006, the 80-years-old Nawab Akbar Bugti, the chief of Bugti tribe, was killed along with his 38 fellows. In the follow-up operation during 2006 and 2007, 349 persons from the Bugti tribe were killed by army or its death squads. In 2007, the Human Rights Commission of Pakistan estimated the missing persons as 600. According to Baloch sources, in 2007, 938 Baloch political activists, intellectuals, writers, students, and tribal elite were killed by the army in Balochistan. A dossier published by Balochistan National Party in 2009 claimed that 9,000 people were being illegally detained. During 2009, 1,104 people were killed, which included well-known political figures and intellectual personalities. On 22nd February 2009, an assassination attempt was made on the life of a prominent scholar, writer, and chairman of the Baloch Academy, Mirza Muhammad Dashti. On April 9, 2009, President of Baloch National Movement, BNM, Ghulam Ahmad Baloch, Vice President Lala Munir Baloch, and the Joint Secretary of Baloch Republican Party, Sher Mohammad Baloch, were picked up from Tolbad by the security agencies. They were killed and their bodies were reportedly thrown from helicopters. In July 2010, Habib Jalid, the General Secretary of Balochistan National Party, was murdered by one of these state's death squads. In June 2011, Professor Sabah Dashtiyari, a literary person, was killed by a death squad. In April 2016, the Interior Minister in the government of Balochistan claimed that security forces arrested 12,234 persons and killed 334. In August 2016, the Defense of Human Rights Organization claimed that 549 people have been kidnapped by the security forces between January and August. The majority of these people were from Balochistan. In 2007, Dr. Abdul Manan, the Secretary General of Baloch National Movement, along with his 4 friends, were taken into custody in Muslim. And after a few hours, their dead bodies were found with torture and bullet injuries. The wife of Sardar Bakhtiar Dunki, who was also the sister of Republican Party leader Mir Bramda Bukti, was killed by the military intelligence in 2012 along with her teenage daughter. Many family members of Dr. Allah Nazar Baloch, who is also a prominent leader of Baloch National Resistance, were murdered by security forces in recent years. According to the BNM Information Secretary, during the month of August 2016 alone, 157 mutilated bodies of Baloch activists were dumped by security forces. As you can ascertain from the figures, that Balochistan is in turmoil. The people are living in a state of siege, while the Pakistani authorities convey the impression to the international community that the national resistance of the Baloch has been contained or crushed. But the fact is that on the one hand, the army and the Baloch resistance have been locked in a bloody, protracted and devastating confrontation, with no side appearing as the winner. And on the other hand, the tale of blood and tear continues in Balochistan. Many actions of the Pakistani security forces and its auxiliary religious and extremist organizations clearly come into the category of crimes against humanity, according to the United Nations General Assembly resolutions. However, as Balochistan has been declared a no-go area for the international media and human rights organizations, nothing of the atrocities are being reported in the international media.
And at the same time, because of our concern in the European Union and in the West with Chinese influence in Asia, we're saying less and less to countries and protecting and being less and less strong as to human rights against certain countries, because we're worried about Chinese influence. And you can see it more in Pakistan than you can see anywhere else. You can see, as I talked about earlier this morning, you can see the European Union providing Pakistan with preferential trade access that is only meant to be available to countries that respect 27 international human rights conventions. And that is absolutely categorically not allowed to happen with countries that have the death penalty. But it happens with Pakistan. And you can see the European Union doing that. You can see Germany investing huge amounts of money into the port in Duisburg, and you can understand why the European Union wouldn't want to disturb the Belt and Road Initiative, because the European Union is going to benefit from it. The European Union wants to meet with Pakistan to sort of counterbalance Chinese influence. And I think that's incredibly dangerous. It's an incredibly dangerous thing for us to do. It's the same kind of approach that we saw actually in the 1990s and before with China itself. This sort of constructive engagement. If we help develop the country, democracy and human rights will follow. But I think we've seen now how false that is. And unfortunately, I think we're ending up in the same place with Pakistan. And the most unfortunate thing about it is, of course, that the Baloch people are sitting there in the one place that they need more than any others to complete that Belt and Road Initiative.
The Baloch suffers too much. I have no words to explain, but Mr. Qamar Malak Baloch actually shed lights of all the miseries, all the human rights violations which is committed by the Pakistani state, their military and intelligence agencies. And it is the Baloch, brave Baloch, who are facing and determined to liberate their motherland. And we, and especially I, on behalf of the Kashmiri people, we are with the Baloch peoples. We support their great struggles, and we think that Baloch are fighting for all oppressed nation in Pakistan, and all oppressed nation in Pakistan should support Baloch. And we are with the Baloch people.
In order to understand the human rights situation in Balochistan, that is being constantly escalating the dangerous levels, one needs to know the military nature of the state Pakistan and control of local politics, economy, media, foreign affairs, and of course the defense policies. Institution of military also controls the civilian governments, beginning with the process of general elections, parliamentary debates, and formation of policies. All political dissent in Pakistan is met with brutal military force and martial law regulations, including ban on politics and political platforms, with complete disregard for civil rights.
Unite Sindh and Gilgit-Baltistan is the Indus River. We are on one end in the north of Indus and Sindh is in the south. What unites Gilgit-Baltistan and Balochistan is unfortunately not just the Indus River, but China's interest in the region. So if you look at the map, and I was looking at the video that you showed, China's CPEC starts from Gilgit-Baltistan and goes to Gwadar. And so we both are at the receiving end, and we share the same pain and misery that China has brought in the region in collaboration with Pakistan. And while I can talk in length about the misery and the pain that the Baloch and Gilgit-Baltistan share, I would also like to say that when we look at the Baloch, and every time when we feel like we're fatigued, every time when we feel like we are hopeless, every time when people in Gilgit-Baltistan or the Sindhis or the Pashtun, and they feel like, there's no hope, there's an impasse, and then we look at the Baloch and the determination and the resolve, you really bring a lot of encouragement to us. So it is not just the pain and the misery that we share. We also believe that your movement of freedom is giving us a lot of courage and help us and refuel us and help us go on with the new ideas and motivation. So not only that, I want to say I stand in solidarity with those who have been wronged. I also want to thank the Baloch for being the leader of all the oppressed nations within the current Pakistani system. You Baloch have really proved yourself as the leader with the real movement right now, and I think you are an inspiration for the Sindhis and other people, and I think we should all look towards you. And it is very important to share stage with the Baloch, especially for Gilgit-Baltistan and Sindh, because we all are oppressed by the same people. And it was Pakistan initially, and now then Pakistan and China have united, and they have joined hands. Obviously, they are really powerful. And unless we unite and we talk about these issues from these platforms, the world would not pay attention to what is going on in Balochistan and Gilgit-Baltistan. And I hope that this kind of unity stays and help promote our cause in a very unified manner, in a manner that is eventually will force the world, which is in slumber right now, unfortunately, and with their selfish motives, have taken the eye away from the miseries and the pain and the rights violation that the Baloch are going through, and eventually they will come back and acknowledge and help rectify the situation.
The eyes of United Nations are still silent, and we need to wake up them with our continuous and together struggle. Our enemy is so cruel that they don't care about any human rights, they don't care about any laws or norms of the international community. They just in daylight disappear people, kidnap them, mutilated bodies, torture them, and throw them from the helicopters in a daylight without any fear of international community or anybody to take to the justice. And as the Christine Fair was saying, that this cruel enemy will kill every Baloch to keep their occupation until and unless we force them. And this fascist regime of Pakistan, which is a military regime, fascist regime, cannot be negotiated, cannot be appeased. Only way forward is to defeat them, and we together will definitely defeat them, and we will win our freedoms.
And all these death squads have a sanctuary in the army camps and FC camps in Balochistan. They abduct people. Do you think the police has the guts to question army? No. They are doing killing and dump with everything. So this must be stopped. We hurt United Nations.
Because of this behavior of Pakistan, the East Wing sacrificed at least 2 million people in 1971 to become today's independent country of Bangladesh. People of Balochistan have been suppressed both by Pakistani army and its proxy or religious groups. The religion has been used against secular Baloch nation. The military has unleashed its religious proxy death squads to eliminate political human rights activists in Balochistan. These death squads are also used to slaughter religious minorities or convert them into Islam by force. The military and its auxiliary religious outfits genuinely believe that Pakistan is the fortress of Islam, and the Baloch are trying to weaken its defenses in order to weaken the struggle for the spread of Islam, only a genuine religion around the world. The people of Balochistan have been punished because of their stand on political and social rights and recognitions. The representatives of Baloch are excluded from the decision making, and Balochistan has no authority whatsoever when it is political, economics, and social affairs. The forced disappearances of students, political activists, and human rights campaigners are everyday occurrences in the situation in Balochistan, and the situation in Balochistan is appalling. There is a systematic genocide taking place in the region. The heinous crimes are being committed against the Baloch people. The vicious policy of the forced disappearances and the kill and dump is continuing with impunity. Thousands of people have been missing, and their families are waiting for their loved ones without knowing whether they are alive or dead. The 71 years of occupation, subjugation, suppression, and denial of human rights and dignity have provoked a general feeling among the Baloch that Pakistan would never become a democratic and modern state where all nations can live together, enjoy their social, culture, and economic rights. The Baloch demand for self-determination is a legitimate right under the internationally recognized legal norms and must be supported by the international community.